So let me ask you a question. What are you doing with the authority that you've been given? Now, that's kind of a strange question that you may think, well, I've not really been given much authority, or I don't have much authority or influence over a bunch of people or anything. But I bet that you have some authority over some things in your life. Maybe you have some authority or influence over some people in your life. Or maybe at the very base, you have authority over or influence over the way that you handle your time or your actions or your attitude. Everybody has authority over something. So the question is, what are you doing with the authority that you have? 2 Corinthians chapter 10, the Apostle Paul writes, and he says this: I may seem to be boasting too much about the authority given to us by the Lord. And then he says this: but our authority builds you up, it doesn't tear you down. So I will not be ashamed of using my authority. So here's Paul, who's a leader in the church, and he says, I'm not going to be ashamed in using my authority. Now, a lot of times authority has a negative connotation. You think, somebody will say, well, I'm an authority over you, or they're an authority over me, or they're my boss, or I'm their boss, or I have to do what they say because they're my parents, or they have to do what I say because I'm their parents. And many times authority just has this negative connotation to it. And sometimes we hear of abuses of authority. But you have authority and I have authority. Some of it's been given to us and some of it's been earned. But the real question is, do you operate in the authority that you've been given? Or maybe you're like a lot of people and you just ignore the authority that you've been given. And Paul is not ignoring the authority here that he's been given. As a matter of fact, what he says is that I want to be using my authority. I'm not going to be ashamed of it. And I want my authority to build you up. So the real purpose of authority here is that it will build other people up. If you have influence over people, if you have authority over people, then you can use that to build them up. Here's something I've been doing recently as I've been talking to some people and even meeting with them one-on-one. I've been intentional about some things that I've said to them. Things like, man, you're doing a very good job here, or I'm really proud of the way that you have progressed in this area of your life. And that carries some weight because for some reason I have some authority in that relationship. And I bet you have relationships where you have authority too. So my challenge to you today is, can you do something today where you will take your authority and you will use it to build somebody up?